1. Let your effort echo louder than your voice. You don't need to announce your every move. Let your discipline do the talking. While others are making noise for attention, you make moves in the shadows that build legacy. The loudest room isn't always the most productive one. Stay low, stay focused. When the results show up, they'll make the noise for you. 2. Success doesn't need a spotlight, it needs sweat. You don't need a stage to validate your grind. Stop chasing applause and start chasing purpose. The grind is lonely, dirty, silent, but it's holy. The people who reach the top aren't the ones who talk about working. They're the ones too busy working to talk. 3. Discipline is louder than hype chews. Quiet consistency. Noise fades, hype disappears, but consistency builds empires. If you're serious about greatness, then understand this. Real power doesn't beg for recognition. It walks with humility, trains in silence, and waits for its moment. You don't need to be seen, you need to be solid. 4. The real ones grind in the dark then shine without saying a word. Talk is cheap, anyone can speak on dreams. But the real ones, they don't speak, they sacrifice. They fail in silence. They rise in silence. They repeat the process until the work speaks for them. And when the light finally finds them, it's because the darkness trained them. 1. The real ones grind in the dark then shine without saying a word. There's a dangerous addiction sweeping through society. The need to be seen before being seasoned, the hunger for applause before accomplishment, the thirst for validation before victory. In a world of constant exposure, where every effort is filtered, captioned, and posted, the ones who quietly go to work have become an endangered species. But make no mistake, they still exist. You just won't find them on the front page of your feed. You won't hear them boasting in boardrooms or broadcasting their ambitions on every platform. Because the real ones, the ones who build legacy, the ones who rise above the noise grind in the dark, and when they shine, it's not because they demanded attention, it's because they earned it. Real greatness is not loud, it's not thirsty for attention, it doesn't knock on your door and ask for permission. It's born in silence, raised in isolation, and matured through relentless, unseen work. The greatest transformations happen away from the spotlight. Diamonds aren't made in public, they're forged in the earth, under pressure, in darkness. And that same principle applies to people who carry purpose. They don't need the limelight to become valuable. They don't wait for the crowd to clap before they move. They understand that the process is private, but the results will be public. In the early morning hours, when most are asleep, some are already grinding. While others scroll, some sweat. While many are busy proving, the few are preparing. It's not that they don't have something to say, it's that they know saying it doesn't build it. Talking about goals might feed the ego, but working on them feeds the future. The difference between the talker and the doer is simple. One makes noise, the other makes history. There is something sacred about the grind no one sees. It demands character. It demands discipline. It demands the kind of resilience that isn't fueled by likes or retweets. Because there's no external reward in that season-only internal conviction, only grit. Only the choice to show up every day, not because someone is watching, but because you made a vow to yourself that you won't be denied by distraction. And that vow is louder than any applause you could ever receive. You don't need an audience to make progress. You need intention. You need commitment. You need a why that's bigger than your desire to be noticed. People who are obsessed with being seen never last. They shine briefly and fade quickly. But the ones who are forged in silence, they last because they weren't built on attention. They were built on alignment, built on principles, built on the ability to suffer in silence and still believe the breakthrough is coming. You can always tell who put in the work not by what they say, but by what they carry. You see it in the confidence that doesn't need to be loud, in the competence that doesn't need to be announced, in the excellence that speaks before they ever open their mouth. That's the reward of silent work. It gives you a power that can't be taken away, because it wasn't given to you by applause. It was earned in the quiet, when no one else was watching. And this isn't just about careers or success. This is about how you approach every area of your life: relationships, spirituality, health, vision. Most people want instant results without invisible effort. They want the shine without the shadows. But the truth is, every meaningful achievement starts in obscurity. It starts with small decisions made over and over again. It starts with rejection, with being overlooked, with being doubted, and still choosing to believe, to build, to grind. That is where power is born, not in the public ceremony, but in the private sacrifice. Every moment you choose to train instead of talk, every time you choose to discipline yourself rather than distract yourself, Every hour you invest in something no one else sees, that's when greatness is planted. And though it may not bloom immediately, it is growing, it is forming, it is waiting for the right moment to break through. And when it does, people will call it sudden success. They'll call it overnight glory, but you'll know it wasn't sudden at all. You'll know the nights you cried, the mornings you pushed, the years you gave. You'll know that the spotlight is just catching up to the light you already carry. Real ones don't just grind, they grind with purpose. They know why they're sacrificing. They know what's on the other side of the struggle. That's what keeps them consistent when nobody's watching. That's what gives them the power to keep showing up when no one is clapping. They understand that true elevation doesn't come from noise, it comes from integrity. It comes from staying faithful to the process, even when the results seem slow. There will be seasons where you feel invisible, where it feels like your effort is being ignored, where it feels like your grind isn't getting any traction. But that's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're being prepared, being refined, being sharpened. Growth happens in the dark. Ask the seed buried in the soil, it doesn't rise by demanding attention. It rises because it surrenders to the process. It endures the pressure, and in time, it breaks through. Your silence is not weakness, it's strength. It's the sign of someone who isn't desperate to be seen, but determined to become. It's the mark of someone who understands that becoming takes time, takes pain, takes solitude. But the reward is a foundation that can't be shaken, because what was built in the dark will stand in the light. Every great structure begins underground. Skyscrapers don't start with the frame, they start with the foundation. And the deeper the foundation, the taller the building can stand. In the same way, your quiet work is the foundation of your future success. It's the part no one applauds, but everyone will see the results of. Don't despise it, don't rush it, embrace it. Because the higher you want to go, the deeper you must dig. Some people are addicted to praise. They move only when someone's watching. They improve only when someone is clapping. That's not strength, that's performance. Real strength moves regardless of the audience. Real strength works when no one is affirming it. Real strength says, whether you notice me or not, I'm getting better. Whether you praise me or not, I'm growing. Whether you see it or not, I'm building something you can't stop. When you grind in the dark, you become dangerous. Because no one can predict your next move. No one can measure your depth. You're not on display, so you're free to develop, free to fail without shame, free to rise without expectations, free to focus without interruption. And that focus becomes fuel. That solitude becomes strength. That silence becomes power. The world may not celebrate your preparation, but it will eventually be shaped by your performance. And when the light finally finds you, your work will speak louder than your words ever could. You won't need to explain yourself. You won't need to defend your journey. You won't need to justify your silence, because the results will speak, the growth will show, the excellence will echo. The ones who grind in the dark are the ones who rise unshakable. Not because they had an easier path, but because they trained for the storms in silence. They built their strength when no one was watching. They made peace with the process, and when the world finally takes notice, it's not the fame that validates them, it's the fulfillment of knowing they stayed true when it would have been easier to give up. So when you feel unseen, don't shrink. When you feel unnoticed, don't stop. When no one is clapping, keep moving. The darkness is not a punishment, it's a preparation. It's the proving ground of the chosen. It's the gym of greatness, the forge of resilience, the birthplace of power. Some will criticize your silence because they can't comprehend your vision. Let them talk, let them guess, let them doubt. Your job is not to convince them, it's to become. Let your grind be louder than your defense. Let your work be stronger than your explanations. Let your evolution speak for itself. You were not born to prove something to people. You were born to fulfill purpose. You were born to live out your assignment. That doesn't require a press release. It requires perseverance. It requires patience. It requires the quiet, thankless decision to keep going when quitting would be easier. So don't be afraid of the silence. Don't resist the solitude. Embrace the hidden season, because it is in the dark that depth is formed. It is in the unseen grind that true power is born. And when it's your time, you won't have to ask for the stage. The stage will find you. And when it does, you won't need to make a sound because your results will roar. 2. Earn it in private, own it in public. The world rewards what it sees, but life respects what it doesn't. Success is not something you get simply because you showed up. It's something you earn behind the curtain, in the hours that never make a highlight reel. Everyone wants to shine, but very few are willing to bleed for the light. That's the truth no one wants to talk about. Everyone wants to be celebrated, but not everyone wants to be shaped. Everybody wants the victory dance, but few have the patience for the lonely process it takes to get there. The ones who make it really make it don't chase the platform. They prepare for the moment. They earn it in private, so when the door opens, they walk through with power and purpose. There is no shortcut to substance, no elevator to excellence, no fast track to greatness. What you don't build in the dark, you won't be able to carry in the light. You can borrow motivation, but you can't borrow mastery. You can imitate confidence, but you can't fake character. These are things that must be developed, internally earned, tested, refined. If you want to be able to stand under pressure, you've got to first train under silence. You've got to live through the silence of being unrecognized, unfollowed, and uncelebrated, because that's where your roots go deep. Private work builds public credibility. You don't get to post your way to purpose. You don't get to hashtag your way to influence. You've got to walk through the grind when no one's looking. You've got to face the battle in the privacy of your own mind and keep moving forward when there's no cheer squad, no affirmation, no applause. That's where the foundation of success is laid, behind the scenes, without recognition, without validation. In that space, you learn to carry weight that can't be seen, the weight of discipline, the weight of consistency, the weight of integrity. Because success is not just about what you achieve, it's about what you can sustain. And you can't sustain something you didn't earn. That's why so many people crumble under pressure. They arrived on a stage they didn't prepare for. They got elevated to a position they didn't condition for. They wanted to own it in public without earning it in private. Let's be real, private discipline is the real difference maker. Anyone can perform in public. But it takes a different kind of person to show up to a routine when there's no one watching, no lights, no cameras, no hype. Just you and your promise to yourself. That's the secret that turns average into elite. The moment when it's not about how you feel, it's about what you said you would do. That's when the growth happens. That's when greatness is being molded in silence. And here's the hard truth. You can't microwave excellence. You can't rush the recipe. What you skip in private will show up in public. You'll be exposed by the very platform you begged for. That's why you don't rush elevation. You let it come when your character is strong enough to hold it. Because when you earn something through sacrifice, through late nights, through early mornings, through focus and fatigue, no one can take that from you. It's built into your bones. It's stamped on your soul. You didn't borrow it. You built it. When people see your success, they'll think it came easy. They'll think it was talent, timing, luck. But what they won't see are the hours you spent when no one cared. The sacrifices you made when no one was watching. The battles you fought in silence. That's what gave you the right to stand. That's what gave you the authority to speak. That's what gave you the presence to walk with conviction. You didn't skip the steps. You didn't cut corners. You didn't take the easy road. You earned it in private. There is a kind of strength that comes from being forged in solitude, from developing your skill when nobody's clapping, from growing your gift when no one's asking. That strength becomes a shield in public. It becomes your foundation when the pressure rises. Because you're not standing on hype, you're standing on hard work. You're not propped up by popularity, you're rooted in principles. That's why you can endure what others can't, because your foundation wasn't built for show, it was built for storms. Let the world chase noise, you chase mastery. Let them crave the spotlight, you crave the skill. Let them announce everything, you stay steady and silent. Because when your time comes, you won't need to talk. The results will speak, the excellence will echo, the preparation will testify. You don't need to convince anyone, you just need to continue. Keep doing the unseen work, keep making those hard decisions, keep choosing growth over comfort, because every unseen choice adds up. Every private moment of discipline becomes public fruit. Don't worry about being overlooked. Don't be discouraged if no one's paying attention. That's not your concern. You're not building for claps, you're building for calling. You're not working for fame, you're working for fulfillment. What you earn in private builds a confidence that can't be shaken. Because it wasn't given to you, it wasn't gifted, it was forged. And that kind of confidence can walk into any room, face any challenge, and stand in any storm. Too many people want to be celebrated for things they haven't suffered for. They want to be praised for potential instead of performance. But the real ones know potential is cheap. Everybody has it. It's execution that's rare. It's discipline that separates. It's sacrifice that defines who's serious and who's just playing. That's why the private grind is everything. It's where you prove to yourself that you want it badly enough. It's where you show yourself what you're really made of. When you keep showing up, day after day, without a crowd, without a cheer, without external motivation, you begin to build internal fire, and that fire becomes unstoppable. It doesn't need fuel from outside. It burns from within. And that's the most dangerous kind of power, the kind that doesn't depend on the environment, the kind that can't be manipulated by praise or broken by criticism. Because it was earned, privately, painfully, quietly. The day you stop needing to be seen is the day you truly become unstoppable. That's when your work goes deeper. That's when your focus sharpens. That's when your results multiply. Because you're no longer performing, you're perfecting. You're no longer distracted, you're devoted. You're no longer trying to impress, you're trying to improve. And that shift changes everything. The reward will come, the opportunity will appear, the door will open. But when it does, you won't be scrambling to rise to the occasion. You'll be ready, because you prepared when no one was clapping. You trained when no one was watching. You mastered your craft in the quiet. And now, the noise won't shake you. The pressure won't break you. Because you didn't arrive by accident, you arrived by assignment. And here's what's even more powerful. When you earn it in private, you inspire others in public. Not by preaching, but by presence. Not by what you say, but by how you carry yourself. People can feel the difference. They can sense the work behind the words, the depth behind the decisions, the power behind the posture. That's the kind of impact that multiplies. Because it's not built on flash, it's built on fire. So if you're in that season where nobody sees you good, stay there, build there, push there, embrace the private grind. It's not punishment, it's protection. It's not delay, it's development. It's not rejection, it's redirection. You're not behind, you're being built. And when the moment comes, you'll walk into it with a calm authority. Not because you practiced a speech, but because you lived the truth. The stage doesn't make you great. The silence does. The crowd doesn't make you worthy. The commitment does. The attention doesn't give you power. The alignment does. So don't chase exposure. Chase excellence. Don't seek fame. Seek fulfillment. Because what you earn in private, you will own in public. Not because you forced it, but because you were faithful when no one else was watching. 3. Consistency is louder than talent. The world is full of talented people who never show up, brilliant minds who never commit, gifted voices that never follow through. Because talent might get you in the room, but only consistency will keep you there. It doesn't matter how high your potential is if you never learn how to stay low and keep building. People respect consistency more than charisma. They trust the one who shows up daily, even if they're not the flashiest, even if they don't have the loudest presence. Because consistency builds credibility, and credibility is currency. It speaks before you ever open your mouth. It walks into the room before your name is called. You can be naturally gifted, but if you don't show up on the hard days, you'll lose to the one who trains with average talent but relentless discipline. Because consistency is what separates the exceptional from the excuses. It's what divides those who talk from those who transform. Being talented doesn't make you unique anymore. In this age, talent is common. But consistency? That's rare. That's revolutionary. That's what turns ability into achievement. Talent is a seed. Consistency is the water. Without discipline, your gift will stay dormant. Without a daily grind, your purpose will stay potential. And that's the danger, thinking that a strong start means a strong finish. That because you were born with it, you'll automatically walk in it. That's not how it works. Purpose must be pursued. Gifts must be grown. Calling must be cultivated. The person who makes it isn't always the most gifted, it's the one who refuses to quit. Every day you show up when it's not easy, when it's not exciting, when it's not Instagram worthy, you're adding bricks to a foundation that no storm can shake. You're proving to yourself that greatness doesn't come from mood, it comes from mission. That excellence is not a feeling, it's a decision. You don't rise by accident, you rise by repetition. You win by commitment, not just commitment when you feel good, but commitment when everything in you wants to hit snooze, back down, walk away. People say they want results, but what they really need is routine. Because if you can master your habits, your future will take care of itself. The secret to real success isn't in a breakthrough moment, it's in the thousands of invisible choices that stack up day after day. Waking up early, doing the work, saying no to distractions, saying yes to discipline. Not skipping the steps, not cutting the corners, not letting your feelings dictate your focus. Consistency turns average people into legends. It's not about having one good day, it's about refusing to have bad weeks. It's about learning how to get back up faster every time life knocks you down. Because it will. Life doesn't care how gifted you are. It doesn't hand you trophies for showing potential. It tests you. It breaks you. It makes you earn what you said you wanted. And the only way to win is to keep showing up. There's a quiet power in the one who doesn't flinch under pressure, who keeps moving even when progress is slow, who keeps believing even when the evidence says otherwise. That's the power of consistency. It builds mental toughness. It builds emotional maturity. It teaches you how to keep going, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You won't always feel like it. But consistency doesn't ask how you feel, it asks what you promised. Most people don't lose because they're incapable. They lose because they're inconsistent. They get excited, they start strong, but then life punches them in the mouth. And instead of staying locked in, they start listening to doubt. They start looking for shortcuts. They start negotiating with their potential. And before long, they fall into the trap of almost disciplined, almost focused, almost committed, but almost never wins. The people who make it all the way don't need motivation. They've got momentum. They understand that motion beats emotion, that taking action, even when it's small, even when it's boring, even when no one notices, keeps them moving forward, and that forward motion builds confidence. It builds clarity. It creates the kind of momentum that can carry you through seasons of discouragement, doubt, and delay. There's a reason champions train when the cameras are off. There's a reason builders lay bricks in the rain, because they know the value of the process. They respect the grind. They understand that it's not the highlight reel that makes you great, it's the stuff nobody sees. The 6 a.m. workouts, the 10 p.m. writing sessions, the hours spent failing, adjusting, growing. Consistency builds something stronger than hype. Heat builds identity. It gives you the right to call yourself great, not because you say it, but because you lived it. Discipline is doing it when it's no longer exciting. Grit is showing up after failure. Maturity is choosing structure over chaos. Consistency is the thread that runs through them all. It's the secret sauce, the foundation. The difference between a wish and a win, and the moment you learn how to stay consistent in discomfort, is the moment you unlock a level most people never reach. That level where results are no longer accidental, they're inevitable. If you're waiting to feel ready, you'll never start. If you're waiting to feel inspired, you'll never stay. But if you build the habit of showing up regardless of how you feel, you'll separate yourself from 99% of the world. Because everyone has bad days, everyone hits walls, everyone gets tired. The difference is whether you stop when it gets hard or push when it gets heavy. Whether you quit when the fire fades or keep walking through the valley until the light returns. Stop measuring your potential by your performance on your best day. Start measuring it by what you do on your worst. That's your real ceiling. That's where your legacy is formed, not in the mountaintops, but in the valleys. Not when the path is clear, but when it's foggy. Not when the crowd cheers, but when nobody's watching. That's when consistency becomes king. That's when the foundation gets fortified. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't reward talent, it rewards tenacity. It doesn't care how smooth your start was. It cares how strong your finish is. And the only way to finish strong is to stay faithful when it would be easier to fall off. To keep walking when quitting would feel justified. You don't need more talent, you need more tenacity, more resilience, more commitment to the habits that build results, even when your feelings try to talk you out of it. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. It means refusing to let failure have the final word. It means bouncing back faster, learning faster, sharpening your focus every time the noise tries to pull you off track. It means deciding every day that you will not be outworked, that you will not stop just because it's uncomfortable, that you will not settle for average just because it's easier. If you can master consistency, you can master anything. It's the bridge between dreams and reality. It's the tool that makes vision tangible. It's the weapon that gives you an edge in any arena, in business, in leadership, in faith, in fitness, in relationships. The ones who win are the ones who keep showing up unshaken, unbothered, unrelenting. So if you feel like quitting good, that means it matters. That means it's stretching you. That means it's real. But don't quit. Adjust, recover, breathe, then get back to it. Because if you keep doing the right things long enough, the right results will come. If you keep planting the right seeds with the right mindset, the harvest is guaranteed. Not instantly, but eventually. You're not being overlooked, you're being developed. You're not being ignored, you're being fortified. Stay consistent. Keep sowing, keep sweating, keep sacrificing. Because what you're building in silence today will echo loudly tomorrow. Not because you posted it, not because you bragged about it, but because you lived it, day after day, brick after brick. Showing up, regardless. Let the world chase shortcuts, let them fizzle out. You keep showing up. That's how you earn the crown. That's how you leave a legacy. Not by being the loudest, not by being the most naturally gifted, but by being the most committed, by being the one who refused to give up, by being consistent until the consistency becomes success.